Young black man helps Cristiano Ronaldo with flat tire. What happens next changes his life forever. The scorching summer sun beat down mercilessly on the isolated country road as Cristiano Ronaldo's silver Mercedes glided smoothly along the empty stretch of asphalt. The football superstar had chosen to take the scenic route back from a photo shoot, seeking a moment of solitude, away from the constant flash of cameras and the endless parade of adoring fans. The peaceful drive had been a welcome respite until a sudden jolt and the unmistakable sound of a tire giving way shattered his tranquility. Pulling over to the shoulder, Cristiano stepped out of his luxury vehicle, the heat immediately enveloping him like a suffocating blanket. He reached for his phone, only to find there was no signal, a rare moment of powerlessness for someone accustomed to having the world at his fingertips. As he stood there, designer sunglasses shielding his eyes from the glare, the absurdity of his situation wasn't lost on him. Here he was, one of the most recognized athletes on the planet, stranded on a deserted road with a flat tire. The sound of an approaching vehicle caught his attention. An old pickup truck, its once blue paint now faded and peeling, slowed to a stop behind his Mercedes. A young man emerged, dressed in well-worn work clothes, his hands bearing the marks of manual labor. Without hesitation or pretense, he approached Cristiano with a genuine smile. "Car trouble?" the young man asked, his voice carrying no hint of recognition. It was a refreshing change for Cristiano, who had grown accustomed to people's reactions, being colored by his fame. "Flat tire," Cristiano responded, gesturing toward the affected wheel. "And no phone signal out here." The young man, who introduced himself as Marcus, merely nodded and walked back to his truck. He returned moments later with a weathered toolbox. "Let me help you with that," he offered, already kneeling beside the tire. As Marcus worked efficiently to change the tire, Cristiano observed him with growing interest. Here was someone who asked for nothing in return, who hadn't even recognized one of the most famous faces in sports, simply stopping to help a stranger in need. The young man's hands moved with practiced ease, speaking of a life lived through practical knowledge and hard work. "My father taught me how to do this when I was just a kid," Marcus explained as he worked, his voice carrying a hint of pride. "Said you never know when someone might need help on the road. He always believed in helping others no matter who they are." The simplicity and sincerity of Marcus's words struck a chord deep within Cristiano. In his world of luxury and privilege, genuine connections were rare. People's motives were often clouded by his wealth and fame, making authentic interactions a precious commodity. As Marcus finished securing the spare tire, Cristiano reached for his wallet, but the young man waved him off. "No need for that," he said, wiping his hands on his jeans. "Just glad I could help. Maybe you can do the same for someone else someday." The irony of those words wasn't lost on Cristiano. Here was someone with seemingly little to his name, teaching him a lesson about generosity and kindness. Before Marcus could return to his truck, Cristiano found himself asking questions about the young man's life, genuinely interested in knowing more about this person who had helped him, without expecting anything in return. Through their conversation, Cristiano learned that Marcus lived with his family in a modest house, not far from where they were. He worked multiple jobs to help support his younger siblings and ailing grandmother, yet spoke of his circumstances without bitterness or resentment. His dignity and quiet strength were evident in every word. As Marcus prepared to leave, Cristiano felt a powerful urge to do something meaningful for this young man who had unwittingly given him more than just roadside assistance. He had provided a glimpse into a world where genuine human connection still existed, untainted by the trappings of fame and fortune. Watching the old pickup truck disappear down the road, Cristiano remained standing beside his Mercedes, lost in thought. The encounter had stirred something within him, a realization that despite all his achievements and wealth, he had somehow lost touch with the simple acts of kindness that make life truly meaningful. Marcus's selfless action had opened his eyes to a different kind of wealth, one that couldn't be measured in dollars or euros. With a renewed sense of purpose, Cristiano made a decision. He would find a way to repay Marcus's kindness, not because the young man expected or asked for it, but because the encounter had awakened in him a desire to make a real difference in someone's life. As he drove away, his mind was already forming plans, not just to help Marcus financially, but to honor the spirit of generosity and humanity that the young man had demonstrated. The following day, Cristiano couldn't shake the memory of his encounter with Marcus. Using his extensive network of connections, he discreetly gathered information about the young man and his family. What he discovered only deepened his respect for Marcus's quiet dignity in the face of challenging circumstances. The modest house Marcus called home was a testament to both struggle and resilience. Located on the outskirts of town, the structure had weathered decades of sun and rain, its walls bearing the marks of time and limited resources for maintenance. Yet there was an undeniable warmth about the place. Flowering plants in recycled containers lined the walkway, and cheerful curtains hung in the windows, speaking of a family that made the best of what they had. Cristiano decided to visit, but this time he left his luxury car behind, opting instead for a modest rental. As he pulled up to the house, he saw Marcus working in the small front yard, tending to what appeared to be a vegetable garden. The young man's surprise at seeing him quickly turned to a welcoming smile. "I didn't expect to see you again," Marcus said, wiping his hands on his work pants. "Is the tire holding up okay?" The genuine concern in his voice touched Cristiano. "The tire is perfect," he replied, then added with a smile, "but I thought it was time I properly introduced myself." As recognition slowly dawned on Marcus's face, Cristiano explained who he was, watching as amazement replaced confusion in the young man's eyes. To Marcus's credit, his demeanor hardly changed upon learning he had helped one of the world's most famous athletes. "Well," he said with a gentle laugh, "I guess Dad was right about helping strangers. You never know who they might be." Marcus invited Cristiano inside, where he met the rest of the family. The small living room was neat but crowded with well-worn furniture. Marcus's grandmother sat in a faded armchair, her hands busy with knitting. Despite her apparent arthritis, two teenage siblings worked on homework at a small table, while the youngest, a girl of about 7, played quietly in the corner with worn but cherished toys. The warmth of their welcome and the genuine affection between family members created an atmosphere that felt more luxurious than any 5-star hotel Cristiano had ever visited. They shared stories over cups of coffee served in mismatched mugs, and Cristiano found himself increasingly moved by the family's resilience and unity in the face of hardship. As the conversation flowed, Cristiano learned more about their daily struggles. The roof leaked during heavy rains, and the ancient heating system worked sporadically at best. The grandmother's medical bills strained their limited resources, yet they faced each challenge with remarkable grace and optimism. What struck Cristiano most was how the family spoke of their dreams. Marcus's younger brother aspired to be an engineer, while his sister showed remarkable artistic talent. The youngest one wanted to be a teacher. These weren't idle wishes, they were goals the family actively worked toward, saving what little they could for education and opportunities. As the afternoon wore on, Cristiano's initial idea of simply offering financial assistance evolved into something more meaningful. He began to envision a comprehensive transformation, not just of their physical home, but of the opportunities available to this remarkable family. The project taking shape in his mind would honor their dignity and hard work while providing the tools they needed to pursue their dreams. Before leaving, Cristiano spent time in the small backyard with Marcus, where they talked about football and life. The young man shared his own dream of starting a community program to teach practical skills to local youth, passing on the knowledge his father had given him. His eyes lit up as he described his vision, though he quickly added that such dreams would have to wait until his family's more immediate needs were met. Driving away from the house that evening, Cristiano felt a profound sense of purpose. The wealth and fame he had accumulated through his career suddenly seemed to have found their true meaning, not in the accumulation of more possessions, but in the opportunity to make a real difference in the lives of people who embodied the values he had somehow lost touch with along his journey to success. He spent the entire drive back to his hotel making calls, setting in motion a plan that would transform not just a house, but the lives of everyone in it. Yet as he worked on the details, he knew that the greatest transformation was happening within himself. sparked by a simple act of kindness on a deserted road. The transformation began quietly but purposefully. Cristiano assembled a team of professionals who shared his vision for creating more than just a renovated house. They would build a foundation for dreams to flourish. Architects, contractors, and interior designers were carefully chosen not just for their skills, but for their ability to understand and respect the dignity of the family they would be helping. When Cristiano presented his plans to Marcus and his family, he did so with careful consideration of their pride and independence. The presentation took place in their small living room, where architectural renderings and material samples were spread across their worn coffee table. The family's initial resistance to accepting such generosity was evident in their hesitant expressions and polite protests. "This is too much," Marcus's grandmother said softly, her weathered hands trembling as she held one of the drawings. "We cannot accept such kindness." Cristiano leaned forward, his voice gentle but firm. "This isn't charity," he explained. "This is an investment in good people who deserve an opportunity to pursue their dreams. Your grandson helped me without hesitation or expectation of reward. Let me do the same for you." The transformation plan was comprehensive. The leaky roof would be replaced with a modern, energy-efficient system. The cramped kitchen would be expanded and equipped with new appliances that would save on utility bills. Each bedroom would be redesigned to provide personal space and study, areas for the children. The backyard would include a small workshop where Marcus could teach community classes. Most importantly, the renovation would incorporate spaces that honored the family's existing lifestyle. The grandmother's knitting corner would be enhanced with proper lighting and ergonomic furniture to ease her arthritis. The young artist in the family would get a small studio space with natural light. The budding engineer would have a desk equipped with a computer for his studies. As the family began to accept the reality of this transformation, their initial hesitation gave way to cautious excitement. The youngest sister started drawing pictures of her dream bedroom, while Marcus's brother eagerly discussed the possibility of having a proper study space. Their grandmother's eyes welled with tears as she imagined a home free from the constant worry of repairs and maintenance. The project attracted attention from the local community, and Cristiano was surprised to find neighbors offering their help. A retired electrician volunteered to assist with the wiring. A local gardening club offered to help plan and plant a sustainable vegetable garden. What had begun as one man's gesture of gratitude was evolving into a community-wide expression of support and solidarity. Throughout the planning phase, Cristiano remained personally involved, often sitting with the family during dinner, learning about their lives and sharing stories from his own journey. He found himself opening up about the pressures of fame and the isolation it sometimes brought. In their modest kitchen, over simple but delicious home-cooked meals, he discovered a kind of authenticity that had become rare in his world of carefully managed public appearances. Marcus, in particular, became someone Cristiano increasingly saw as a friend rather than a recipient of his help. The young man's insights and practical wisdom offered perspectives that challenged Cristiano's worldview in unexpected ways. During one evening, as they reviewed the renovation plans, Marcus shared his philosophy about success. "Real success," Marcus said, pointing to his family gathered in the next room, "is being able to help others even when you have little yourself. My father taught me that wealth isn't about what you have, but about what you can give." These words resonated deeply with Cristiano, who had achieved every material success imaginable, yet found himself learning new definitions of wealth through this experience. The renovation project was becoming more than a physical transformation of a house. It was reshaping his understanding of purpose and fulfillment. As the plans moved toward implementation, Cristiano ensured that the family would be comfortable during the construction phase. He arranged for temporary accommodation that kept them together and close to their daily routines. The care taken in these arrangements reflected his growing understanding that true help meant preserving dignity and maintaining the bonds that made this family strong. The day before construction was set to begin, the family held a small gathering in their soon-to-be transformed home. Neighbors brought dishes to share, and the atmosphere was filled with hope and anticipation. Looking around at the worn walls that had sheltered so many dreams, Cristiano realized that the true renovation had already begun, not in the physical structure, but in the hearts of everyone involved. The renovation progressed swiftly, but the most remarkable transformations weren't happening in brick and mortar. As the walls of the old house came down and new ones rose in their place, barriers between different worlds began to crumble as well. Cristiano found himself spending more time at the construction site than his busy schedule should have allowed, drawn by the authentic connections he was forming with Marcus's family and the local community. The media eventually caught wind of the story, but Cristiano was adamant about protecting the family's privacy. When reporters asked about his involvement in the project, he redirected the conversation to the broader message of community support and the importance of giving back. His publicist was puzzled by his reluctance to leverage the story for positive publicity. But Cristiano had learned something valuable about the quiet dignity of genuine kindness. One afternoon, as Cristiano visited the construction site, he found Marcus teaching his younger siblings how to plant trees in what would become their new garden. The scene struck him profoundly. Here was a young man who, despite facing his own challenges, continued to nurture and support others. It reminded him of his own childhood in Madeira, where his family had struggled but always maintained their dignity and hope. "You know," Marcus said, noticing Cristiano watching them, "this project has taught the kids something important. They're learning that dreams can come true in unexpected ways, but also that success means nothing if you don't use it to help others." The wisdom in those words sparked an idea in Cristiano's mind. He began working with his foundation to develop a program that would identify and support other families like Marcus's, people who demonstrated extraordinary kindness and community spirit despite facing significant challenges. The program would focus not just on providing financial assistance, but on creating opportunities for education and skill development. As the renovation neared completion, the transformation was stunning. The old house had been reimagined into a space that honored the family's values, while providing them with tools to pursue their dreams. The leaky roof was replaced with solar panels that would reduce their energy costs. The cramped rooms were opened up to create bright, welcoming spaces where the family could gather and grow. But perhaps the most significant change was in the backyard workshop, where Marcus would soon begin teaching local youth the practical skills his father had passed down to him. The space was equipped with tools and workbenches, designed to be a place where knowledge and values could be shared across generations. The grandmother's health improved notably once she moved into her new room with its proper heating and specialized furniture. The younger siblings' academic performance soared with their dedicated study spaces and access to educational resources. The family's youngest member turned her new art corner into a creative haven, producing colorful drawings that now decorated the hallways. Yet amidst all these changes, the essential character of the family remained unchanged. They still gathered for meals, sharing stories and laughter around their new dining table. The grandmother still knitted in her corner, now more comfortably stationed in an ergonomic chair by a large window. The sense of warmth and welcome that had first struck Cristiano about their home had only grown stronger. One evening, as the project neared completion, Cristiano found himself sitting with Marcus on the new back porch, looking out at the workshop that would soon become a center for community learning. The conversation turned to the future, and Marcus shared his expanded vision for the space. "What you've given us isn't just a renovated house," Marcus said thoughtfully. "It's a platform to help others. That workshop will be more than just a place to learn practical skills. It'll be a place where people can learn about dignity, kindness, and the importance of community." Cristiano realized that his initial desire to repay a simple act of kindness had evolved into something far more significant. He had set out to help one family, but had instead become part of a growing movement of community support and empowerment. The project had attracted volunteers, inspired neighbors, and created connections that would continue to strengthen long after the construction was complete. As the sun set on another day of transformation, Cristiano reflected on how his definition of success had shifted since that fateful afternoon with a flat tire. The trophies and accolades that marked his professional achievements suddenly seemed less significant compared to the genuine smiles and heartfelt gratitude he encountered in this humble neighborhood. The day of the house's official completion arrived with the warmth of early autumn sunshine. The transformation was remarkable, not just in the physical structure, but in the ripple effect it had created throughout the community. What had begun as one man's gesture of gratitude had evolved into a testament to the power of human connection and shared purpose. As Cristiano arrived for the small gathering planned to celebrate the completion, he noticed something different about the neighborhood. The surrounding houses showed signs of recent improvements: fresh paint here, new gardens there, repaired fences and cleaned walkways. The spirit of renewal had spread organically, inspiring others to invest in their own spaces and dreams. The reveal was planned not as a grand ceremony, but as an intimate gathering of those who had been part of the journey. Local volunteers, who had contributed their time and skills, mingled with professional contractors who had worked on the project. The atmosphere was charged with an energy that went beyond the excitement of a finished renovation. It was the feeling of a community that had discovered its collective strength. Marcus's grandmother welcomed guests at the door of their transformed home, her eyes bright with joy and unshed tears. The house had been designed to retain its character while providing the family with the tools to pursue their dreams. Solar panels gleamed on the new roof, promising years of sustainable energy. The expanded kitchen now opened onto a gathering space where the family could maintain their tradition of shared meals and stories. As Cristiano walked through the house with Marcus, they paused in the new workshop. Tools hung neatly on walls, workbenches stood ready for lessons, and large windows filled the space with natural light. But what caught Cristiano's attention was a framed photograph on the wall, a black and white image of Marcus's father teaching a young Marcus how to change a tire. "My mother found this while we were packing for the renovation," Marcus explained, his voice soft with emotion. "She said Dad always believed that the skills he taught me weren't just about fixing things, they were about fixing lives." The revelation struck Cristiano deeply. This project, which he had initiated to repay a simple act of kindness, had become exactly what Marcus's father had envisioned, a way to fix lives, not just things. The workshop would soon open its doors to young people in the community, offering them not just practical skills, but the same values of kindness and service that Marcus had demonstrated on that fateful day. In the transformed backyard, Marcus's siblings showcased their own transformations. His brother proudly demonstrated the computer program he'd created for managing the workshop's class schedule. His artist sister had painted a mural on the workshop's wall, depicting hands joined in friendship and service. Even the youngest sibling had started a small reading circle for neighborhood children in the new garden space. The grandmother, seated in her specially designed corner, shared a surprise of her own. She had been knitting throughout the renovation, creating something special. One by one, she presented each person who had worked on the project with a handmade scarf, each uniquely designed to reflect their contribution. When she handed Cristiano his, he noticed it incorporated subtle patterns of footballs and stars, a beautiful blend of his world and theirs. As the gathering continued, Cristiano found himself drawn into a conversation with a group of local youth who had been inspired by the project. They spoke excitedly about their own dreams and plans to help others in their community. One young girl, no more than 12, declared her intention to become an architect who specialized in creating homes for families in need. The true impact of the project revealed itself not in the physical improvements, but in the way it had awakened a sense of possibility in everyone it touched. The renovated house stood as a symbol of what could be achieved when people came together with open hearts and willing hands. As the day drew to a close, Marcus gathered everyone in the new living room for a final surprise. He unveiled a simple plaque to be mounted by the workshop entrance. It read, "Every act of kindness is a building block for a better world, in honor of those who stop to help others along the way." Cristiano, standing among these people who had become like family, realized that his journey had come full circle. What began with a flat tire on a deserted road had led him back to the fundamental truths he had somehow lost sight of in his rise to fame. that true wealth lies in the connections we forge with others, and that the greatest achievements are measured not in trophies or titles, but in the lives we touch and the hope we inspire. As the gathering wound down and people began to leave, each carrying with them a piece of the magic that had been created, Cristiano lingered for one last moment with Marcus on the new porch. No words were needed between them. They both understood that while the renovation was complete, the real transformation was just beginning. The legacy of this project would live on in the lives it touched, the dreams it inspired, and the reminder that sometimes the greatest journeys begin with a simple act of kindness on a quiet country road.